I want to talk to you about a four-letter word, and the four-letter word starts with C, and it has O, and it has P, and it has Y. Copy. It is so important when you are marketing your product or service to understand the essence of good copy, okay, or good copywriting. Now, I'm not suggesting that you need to become a copywriter. My view is that you, if you've got a sore tooth, I go to a dentist, okay? So if you need some copy written, then I do certainly advise that you would seek out some help from a copywriter. But so that you can every now and again put together some copy yourself, I thought what I'd do is go through some pretty good tips and some pretty good hints on good copywriting and what you should be doing when you are putting some copy together for yourself, or when you are briefing a copywriter. At least you know the sorts of things that you should expect from him or her. I guess really when it's all said and done, people say to me, look, what's the importance of copy? And to me, if you are putting copy together for a web page or for a Facebook advertisement, or you're putting copy together for a brochure or for a press ad or for a TV ad or radio ad or what have you, it sort of comes down to you demonstrating loud and clear just how interesting you or your product or service is. A little bit like if you were caught in an elevator with someone who was really boring, you would be pressing the fire button or the emergency services help me button probably more than if you were caught in a lift with Jim Carrey. Okay, so if you were caught in an elevator with Jim Carrey or Robin Williams or someone of that nature, Jim Owen, the Australian comedian, I don't think you'd be fussed that if you were caught in there for 20 minutes. They'd be quite interesting, wouldn't they, to talk to? But if you were caught in the elevator for 20 minutes with a boring person, a politician, for example, I think you'd be pressing that button saying, help, help, emergency services, get me out of here. Well, think about that when you're putting your copy together. Is your copy boring or is it interesting? And of course, you want to make it the latter. You want to make your copy interesting. So what I thought I would do is that regardless of whether you engage the services of a copywriter or you decide to do some copywriting yourself, I will arm you with the components of good copywriting that I think you should be following. So let me just bring up on the screen right now. I'm going to show you hints on what type of copy to use in your advertising. And if we move forward, the number one hint that I want to highlight to you, and this is a mistake that most business owners make, and indeed a lot of advertising agencies make too, by the way, and that is you need to highlight the benefits, not the features. And as you'll see as I go through these dot points here, try to avoid telling them how great you are. Now, that's probably a bit rich coming from me. If you know me, you probably know that I'm a bit of a show-off. And let me explain to you why this number one rule in terms of trying to avoid them telling how great you are still applies to show-offs, okay? If you're in the advisory game, and you happen to be Gordon Ramsay, you happen to be Don Burke, who's an expert at gardening, you happen to be any one of the master chefs and so on and so forth, even, the late great Steve Irwin, if you were good at crocodile hunting, there's nothing wrong with showing off. There's nothing wrong with boasting that you are number one, because people are attracted to experts. And so therefore I can't make any apologies for saying to people, look, I think I'm pretty good at this marketing game. But what you want to do is quickly, after boasting your credentials, get straight into highlighting why those credentials are going to help your target audience improve their life or make money or whatever it may be. And that's what I do. You would know that whenever you've seen me talking, whether it be on stage or whether it be on a podcast or whether it be something like this, then yes, of course, I will beat my chest a little and say, look, I'm the best at this, and that's why I make a few dollars these days, and that's why you should follow me. But let me tell you why I think you should be following my mantra, because it can make you a lot of money. It can make life easier for you. So it's nothing wrong with boasting, but as long as you quickly cut to the chase. So let's just get back to the bullet points. Rather, what I believe you should do after you've told them that you're good or your products are good, that you should, of course, do the what's in it for me thing, okay? Tell them the sort of benefits they're likely to receive when they buy your product or service. You need to show your target audience how your product or service will make them happier or more comfortable or richer or safer. Don't make your copy centered all around yourself. Make it around them. Now, if you have a look at what I do, if you've hung around my environment for a little while, you will see that, yes, I will show off, but at the same time, I will back that boastfulness by case studies. So therefore, I'm just not pulling it out of where and saying, look, I'm good without any evidence. And then I'll quickly say, that you will benefit from hanging around my environment because I will help you make more sales and attract more clients. That's what I'm saying. So therefore, if you're a show off, you can certainly still show off. Okay, let me just tell you the number 2, and that is storytelling. You need to be a storyteller. And whilst there's nothing wrong with highlighting specific benefits and, with bullet points, try not to overdose this with Telegram language. We don't live in the Telegram world anymore, okay? Everyone loves a story, so build a story around your products or services, and of course, highlight the benefits within that story. You may care to even highlight some case studies of other customers or clients who have used your products or services, and obviously the more interesting ones. Don't show boring people. Try when you are putting together some testimonials and you're featuring photographs or you're featuring video, try not to show ugly people. I'm joking, okay? I can see you writing that down now. Okay, looks like Beryl's out. Okay, I'm joking, okay? Don't take me seriously. But yes, people are attractive to attractive things, so try not to show too many ugly people, at least anyway. Okay, now Walt Disney was probably one of the world's greatest storytellers, okay? Steven Spielberg and George Lucas are probably up there with him these days, but Walt Disney, I think you would agree, was one of the all-time great storytellers. They say that the likes of Walt Disney and Robin Williams and people like that are once in 100-year people. You only get that sort of talent come along once probably every 100 years. And in Walt Disney's instance, when he was asked, how did the company raise so much money? Basically, he said, when Walt Disney's brother was asked, how did Walt Disney raise so much money for all the things that he did? Basically, he said, look, don't credit me, even though Roy Disney, Walt's brother, was the guy that actually raised all of that money with the banks. He said, look, everyone gives me credit for raising the money and just think that Walt was the creative one. I've got to tell you, Walt Disney was the one that really raised the money, because whenever we needed money, he would stand in front of 6 or 7 bankers, and we might have been halfway through Snow White and the 7 Dwarfs and we ran out of money, which meant that it could have been Snow White and the 3 Dwarfs by the time it hit the theatre. I would fly to New York with Walt. I'd have all the spreadsheets in front of me showing that, at Disney we've done all of the calculations, and if we can just get another $5 or $10 million to finish the movie, this is the break-even point, and blah, 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 blah. He said Walt Disney would get up with slides and talk all about Snow White and the 7 Dwarfs and where they were up to in the movie and why this is going to be the most spectacular movie on the screens that America and everywhere else in the world has ever seen, blah, 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 blah. And he said they were writing checks and giving them to him before he even finished his story. That's how engaging Walt Disney was. So storytelling is very, very important. Okay, the point is that you might have the best lawnmowers around, but you need to tell the story of why they are better than, competitors. You might have the freshest fruit and veggies in town. Well, you should explain the reasons why. You might say, for example, well, we only buy from the best farms, which have won awards for quality control, and we're up earlier than anyone else at the markets, and we get the freshest produce. It's all about storytelling. If your facial cream reduces fine lines quicker than any others, then you've got to tell the story why this is the case. You can say, look, this is a very special, cream that's built on a formula from the jungles of the Amazon. And in fact, on that subject, I saw Olivia Newton-John with her husband, who's I think very much into organics and the ecosystem, and they were promoting a healthy juice recently, and it was on one of the Today shows or what have you. And Olivia Newton-John's husband and her were telling the story about this juice originates from a particular plant in the Amazon jungle, and they went right through it. And by the end of it, I wanted to ring the 1-800 number and get this juice. It was some special juice that kept you healthy, and the storytelling was brilliant. Now, yes, you got Olivia Newton-John, who obviously is going to attract attention anyway, but the story was really, really engaging, okay? Your guest house or your hotel might be the most comfortable beds around. We'll explain the whole story about the mattress and who makes it and why that mattress is so delightful to sleep on. You see, the thing is that wow factors don't necessarily need to be free things. Your wow factor can be the unique benefit which your product or service offers, and it's a benefit that your competitors simply can't match. And let me tell you an example of that. I stayed quite a number of years ago at a hotel in San Diego, and in San Diego this particular hotel was a Westin, okay, so it was one of the nicer sort of 4-star, 5-star hotels. And when I went to the room that night to go to sleep, I could not believe how comfortable the bed was. And for those of you who have stayed in a Western hotel anywhere around the world, you probably know what I'm talking about. And that is, they have this incredible bed called a Heavenly Bed. The brand name is Heavenly Beds, okay? And this thing had, I don't know, about 48 pillows. And when you laid down on the bed, it was just, I wouldn't know what lying on a cloud is like, but this has to be close to it. It was just unbelievable. Went to sleep like that, and it was the best night's sleep I've ever had. And when I was checking out the next morning, I said to the girl on the counter, as if I was the only one that's ever noticed this, not. I said, oh, look, I've got to give you a 5 out of 5 for your bed. I mean, the bed was unbelievable last night. And she goes, well, thank you, sir, that's a Heavenly Bed. And I said, yeah, I looked at the brochure next to the bed. It's fantastic. And she said, you do know that we even sell those beds online. I went, what? She said that bed is so popular throughout all of our hotels around the world that we now actually sell those mattresses online. So that's not a freebie. We haven't given our guests anything as a free wow factor bonus. We've actually made the product the bonus. Because when you think about it, how smart is it? What's the most important thing in your hotel room? It's the bed, of course. When we're going into a hotel, whether it be a vacation or whether it be business, we just want a nice, comfortable bed. So what did they do? They got the most comfortable bed in the world, and they made that their wow factor. So when you're thinking about wow factors, sometimes you may have an organic wow factor like that, where you don't need to go out looking for a freebie bonus. You don't need, free cinema tickets to the movies. You don't need a free weekend getaway. You don't need a free massage. You've got your wow factor built into the business. Anyway, I know we're still on copywriting, but that does have a pretty good link to copywriting your wow factor. Look, I wanted to show you this. This is a client that we had some years ago called Ag Farm, and this particular company invites farmers to actually provide Ag Farm with their produce, and Ag Farm would get a better price for it because they would mix it up with like produce, whether it be grains or whatever it might be. They would mix it up with other farmers who were giving them like produce, and then they would actually mix that up. They would have much more content, and they would sell that for a better price than you would yourself. I won't go too much more into it because the radio ad that I'm about to play for you, which I wrote and produced, will tell you what the story is. Now, keep in mind, Ag Farm is after farmers. And so therefore, when I was putting this particular campaign together, I made sure that the voice for this radio campaign was very much Jack Thompson, a typical Aussie, okay? So it was very much Paul Hogan, if you like, because guess what? He's talking to people on the farm. He's talking to agricultural farmers. And this radio campaign was very successful. It was so successful that we actually had to stop it within a few weeks. It was played in the country regional areas, and a lot of these farmers have got their headphones on, going up and down on the tractor on the property, and they were listening to this ad happen over and over again. It's a long form ad, and I wanted to show this to you because it is an infomercial style ad. So it's not your typical 30 seconds, it goes for a little bit longer than that, but have a listen to how powerful the story is. I'll play it for you right now.
G'day, Jim's the name. I'm a farmer. Growing wheat for a living is hard, but getting the best price is harder. Been a real worry, particularly the last 2 years. Not anymore. I now get better prices for my grain and someone else sells for me. Now I'm taking it easy, putting the feet up and enjoying a regular income. Here's the tip. If you grow wheat, barley or canola, listen up. There's a company called Ag Farm you need to speak to. Ag Farm. You give them your grain, they combine it with grain of similar quality and sell it for a better price. Over a set period of time, 5 or 10 months, you get a monthly payment. Means you can say goodbye to cash flow problems. Put your feet up and get a regular cash flow. Doesn't get much better. Give Ag Farm a call. Let them get you a better price for your grain. 1300 243 276. 1300 243 276. Or go to agfarm.com.au.
Okay, so there you go. You can see that was storytelling. Let's just tick the boxes. Number one, it's a powerful story highlighting the benefits for you as a farmer. Number two, we used the right tonality, so it was very much g'day, it's Australian here, it's very much in the Crocodile Dundee sort of style. And number three, there was a strong call to action. And that strong call to action, of course, was, sort of throughout the ad, but certainly at the end of the ad. So hopefully that will give you some idea of what I'm talking about in terms of powerful storytelling and the right tonality. Okay, now let me go to the next slide that I want to show you, and this is all about using testimonials. I know that perhaps I go on and on about this, but really you should take note of this. It's very powerful. It won't come as a surprise to you, but you know, whilst video testimonials are important for your website and your TV and radio advertising, written testimonials, you know, are certainly vital when it comes to print advertising. So that might be a brochure, might be a direct mail letter, it may be maybe a newspaper advertisement. The fact is that, you know, video testimonials will always be my number one preference. But of course, if you're using print media, then you can't have a video testimonial. So I always believe that you should have the testimonial normally in script font or typeface. And I believe that you should have a photo of the person with at least their first name, John or Fred or Jim or Julie, next to it. If you can have their full name and the people are quite happy for you to use their full name, then use that as well. So it would be, you know, John Dwyer, Gold Coast. Okay, and but testimonial is very important. The other thing that you need to take note of is make sure that you arouse interest. Make sure that you keep including, you know, lots of helpful tips, interesting facts, what's colourful about your product or service in terms of, you know, is it cheeky? Does it make people feel better? Does it make them look younger? Does it sort of encourage them to live their life in a more healthier state? The whole idea is to, you know, increase consumer interest in your story by arousing interest. I often say that if the headline said to you, if someone was holding up their fruit juice and the headline said to you, despite rumours, I can guarantee you there are no sexual stimulants in our orange juice. Do you think that would arouse interest? I think it might, and I think it might sort of add to selling some more orange juice that week. So it's all about arousing interest. Next one, point number 5, appeal to their emotions rather than their intelligence. And you need to create an emotional link with the reader if it's a newspaper, or listener if it happens to be radio, or viewer if it happens to be in front of the website, where they say, well, you know, I need that product or service. Now, a lot of people will say that the real estate game is all built on emotional direct response marketing, or at least people buy homes based on emotion, and that's right. But you know what? They buy crunchy bars from Cadbury's based on emotion. They buy home security systems on emotion. They buy motor cars on emotion. We all buy pretty much everything on emotion. And I was only showing a group of people at one of my workshops recently. I had a locksmith become part of one of my programs, and this particular locksmith, I'll draw this and hold it up to the camera, when he was putting out his letterbox brochures, he actually would show you a picture. Oh, sorry, I didn't realise I had my overhead camera. He'd show you a picture of a lock. Okay, we knew what a lock looked like, and so therefore when I decided to fix his advertising, well, when he asked me to fix his advertising for him, the brochure that we ended up using was a door hanger, and the door hanger had a bad guy with a balaclava, okay? And the bad guy with the balaclava there actually normally has a sad face, doesn't he, because he's going to rob your house. And this guy with the balaclava, a door hanger, remember, so it's not a letterbox brochure, it's a door hanger, and this guy's got the black, you know, balaclava on, he looks like a robber. He basically says, look, I called in but you weren't home, but don't worry, I'll be back tonight. And of course on the flip side of that brochure would be an invitation for you to actually get this guy's locks on your windows and your doors. Now can you imagine the difference in the effect of having a brochure that went out with just a lock versus a brochure that went out with a picture of a guy who's a nasty, you know, sort of burglar with a balaclava over his head? I think the latter, well, not think, I know, because what happened is it melted his switchboard, okay? Because he was selling the benefit, he wasn't selling the product. And what he was doing was appealing to their emotions. Oh, look, I'm scared, I don't want this guy coming back tonight and not having my window locks in place. He sold on emotion. Whereas when he was trying to sell with a picture of a lock, that of course he was selling on features. We don't buy on features, we buy on benefits and emotions. Okay. Now I want to show you I guess an emotional trick that I played for a client, and I'll bring it up to the screen right now for you. This particular company distributed to offices and warehouses and so forth their honesty box of chocolates, and so therefore you can see there, and unfortunately it's a little bit small, but you'll see there that these are the things that, you know, sit next to the reception desk outside the elevator well, when you were visiting businesses, and there would be Cadbury chocolates or whatever it was, and you put your $2 in the box and just take a chocolate. And it was ideal for, work colleagues throughout the day when they had, a snack attack. They would go out and just put their $2 coin in and take the chocolate. Well, what would happen is that, and by the way, a percentage of the profits from this particular company went to a charity. And what would happen is invariably people, and I know I've fallen into this trap too, where you go, oh look, I just don't have $2 on me at the moment. I'll take the Kit Kat or whatever the chocolate is, but I'll put an IOU on a little, yellow post-it note and remind myself at my desk that I better put that $2 in tomorrow. Life gets in the way and you forget about it. It's not like you weren't wanting to put the $2 in, but life just gets in the way. And he said, look, I've just got to stop that. My pilferage factor, or loss factor in that instance, is huge. And so I said, okay, let me have a shot at it. So what we did is that we actually changed the header of his boxes to what you see on your screen right now. And that was the little girl that was representative of the charity, where it was children with unfortunately no parents, and they were in an orphanage and they didn't have a lot of money to eat. And it says, please be honest and leave your money. Mr. Snacks can only support the homeless if everyone pays. And the moment that he put that as the header on his chocolate box, guess what? The pilferage factor, or the no pay factor, disappeared. He couldn't believe it, because what we had done is that we'd actually created a campaign based on emotion. Once you showed that sad little girl's face and she wasn't going to eat next week if you didn't put your $2 in, it was all over, okay? Now, just before we finish, I just wanted to highlight to you that what you need to do is be accurate with any statistics. Make sure you get your facts and figures correct. You don't want to leave yourself open to any claims of false advertising, so that's really, really important. And you need to be specific in all your details. So rather than using hazy phrases such as this products get things done faster, you would say that this gets done within 10 days or 7 days. I've had a company on board that looked after helping women's incontinence issues. And they used to say before they came on board my program that, oh, well, this will help you stop wetting your pants, within a very short period of time. I said, no, look, do you have a specific period of time that most people, you can't guarantee everyone, would stop, wetting their pants? And they said, yeah, 7 to 10 days. 90% of people, when they use this particular product, will, their incontinence issue will just disappear within 7 to 10 days. And I said, well, that's what you've got to use. That's what you've got to use. You can't just simply be hazy. And once they did that, then of course, interest in their product became greater. Last one, and that is ask for the business, okay? So this is basically the call to action. Yours should be a high-powered statement that intrigues prospective customers to respond immediately. And of course, how you can actually stimulate a better response is that you not only have a call to action, but you have one that's either time sensitive, so this offer is available until next Tuesday at 5 o'clock, or one which is quantity sensitive, and that is we have only X number of these. So hopefully that has helped you understand the essence of good copywriting. Whether you use a copywriter or whether you do it yourself, these are the sorts of tips that I think you should follow. And if you tick all those boxes, there's a very strong chance that your copy is going to be compelling. And if your copy is compelling, there's a good chance you're going to get more phone calls and you're going to get more orders online, or you're going to have more people walk into your business. Hopefully that's been some help to you.